Nez foreclosure forces a couple out of a house. The ex-boyfriend says he never got his belongings, and now he's suing for $5,000, including damage to his car.
Why do you keep letting him in?
I'm trying to have a civil relationship with them because we do have a child.
You're not.
Exactly, which is why in February he came to my mom, gave her some information saying that we need.
You know what, lady? You invite the devil in for a cup of tea, he'll stay for supper. Next thing you know, he's moved in. Can't get rid of him.
And that's a fact I've had to learn. In fact, in order to prevent myself or prevent any more contact between the two of us, I did get a restraining order in April, and it's still in effect until 2012. Since then, I haven't had any confrontations or any real connection with them at all. We do everything through third party so that we don't come into contact with each other. And he still has the option, if he chooses to visit with our child in contact.
Does he?
Actually, this month he hasn't seen her at all. He claims that he's working and he can't pick her up. And
so he says he's got to go to New York for a reunion. He leaves. The bank cuts a deal with him to basically pay him to clear out because he's trying to establish squatters' rights by staying in there, and they want the house back.
Exactly. They want the house back.
Now, let me ask you this. He offers you part of the money if you'll clean out his stuff.
Yes.
Did you clean out his stuff?
Well, he had told me that he hadn't been living there, that basically I'd have to go in, mop the floors, wash the walls, and clean up, and it's just basic cleaning, not actually moving his stuff. So when I spoke with the real estate agent, I told her it'd take me 2 days to do that basic cleaning.
How much money were you supposed to get?
The total amount was $1,500 that the agent was offering for the cash for keys exchange.
Why did you slash his tires?
Well, I didn't slash his tires. I slashed the tires on a car that I am the financial responsible person for. When the car was purchased...
So you slashed the tires on your own car?
Exactly. He was driving the car knowing that it's registered to me, knowing that every time he gets a ticket, it doesn't go to him. He doesn't take care of it. It comes to me. And he's known that I don't want the car, that I want him to be responsible for it because he has sole possession of it. He's never even...
Why does he have sole possession?
During the time of our relationship, he didn't allow me to drive this vehicle. He purchased it with monies between myself and him as well. He didn't allow me to drive it because he said that I would mess up the rims, that every time I drove the car, something was wrong with it when it came back. So I ended up getting my own vehicle through my mother and having that car. I gathered all the documentation that the DMV said that I needed in order to get the title corrected and registered under him. But because there was over $300 worth of taxes or fees on the car that had to be paid because the car was $2,000, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to pay for the taxes or the fees on the car, so he didn't get it registered to him. And it stayed that way ever since we possessed it.
Dr. Tiffany Davis-Henry, you're a family therapist. What do you make of all this?
Well, I think that the plaintiff comes across as very cavalier and very suave, and that's usually how individuals who are perpetrators of domestic violence will come across to women in order to lure them in. Most women that find themselves in these types of situations want to see the best in people, and I'm sure in this relationship she sees all of his best qualities, but unfortunately we maximize those best qualities and minimize the impact of the abuse, and that's how we sometimes end up in long-term abusive relationships such as this. It's very clear based on the evidence that she was in danger, and you know, it breaks my heart because I know she's a beautiful woman who probably has a lot of inner strength that's just built up over the years. But quite frankly, she got sick and tired of being sick and tired. This was a horrible situation for her to be in, and she had had enough. And I think that that's what led to slashing the tires.
And they're on her car?
On her car, yeah.
She illegally obtained.
Quit looking around the room. Look. It's her.
She obtained the car.
Stop talking.
I've already went through the process.
No.
Registering the car to myself.
Okay. Come out, security. If you cannot be quiet and speak when it's your turn, you have to leave. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
You're not in a room alone with me beating me up. You don't scare me. Oh, really?
Really?
Let's see about that. Patrick Coffey, are you with me?
I'm here, Nancy.
The polygrapher. Let's see what happened. Mr. I didn't beat anybody. Patrick, did you perform a polygraph?
Yes, Nancy, I did. And I clarified before the test. I said, well, have you ever struck Miss Clay with a closed fist? And he denied that, so I made that one of the questions on the test. Have you ever struck Miss Clay with a closed fist? He answered no, and clearly that was a lie.
Wow.
Well, he clearly admitted to slapping her. He admitted to kicking her. He admitted to actually putting his hand around her neck. And I said, well, does that mean you were choking her? And he said, well, yeah, I guess it could be considered choking her. However, she always would instigate it. So I then...
Yeah, I didn't admit to choking or kicking anyone.
Keep going, Mr. Coffee.
I also asked him, have you ever lost your temper and injured Miss Clay? And he said no, and clearly that was a lie. And the last question I asked him, have you ever injured Miss Clay during an argument? He said no, and clearly, again, that was a lie.
Wow.
Long story short,
Wow.
do you have any suspicion, an inkling that you are wrong in your analysis?
Wow.
Well, absolutely not. In fact, I was trying to work with him and explain to him. I said, every question I ask you indicates that you're an extremely violent person. And he laughed and said, well, really, if you get to know me, I'm really not a violent person. So, and I was asking him questions. Well, when was the last time you were in a fight? And when was the last time you initiated the fight? And we really had to narrow it down to just a very short time ago when he wasn't in a fight with somebody or when he didn't initiate a fight with somebody.
Listen, lady, do you hear him?
I do.
The litigants face Nancy's binding decision next.